This is a short preview of what the match is going to be. It's going to be Soulglider against Alexchen. It's a Group B match, so a pretty high up division of Washed Up League from Week 2. Human vs. Night Elf. Their current MMRs are 1845 and 1782. Soulglider has obviously a lot less games, but that's because Alexchen is one of the bigger grinders there is, and he's put in a lot since the season started. As for where they stand, I give the favorite to Soulglider. I think their playstyles will put Soulglider at an advantage here, and I also think when Soulglider is performing well, that he is, someone who could easily have been in the Group A with the other players there. But obviously, because Soulglider has played limited games lately and of this season, there's always the chance that he, makes mistakes out of just having not practiced as much, whereas Alexchen has practiced a lot, and usually when you practice a lot, you tend to make less mistakes. So that could be his saving grace, and Alexchen definitely can win this as well. It'll be up to what their performance is here. And that is what we're here to see, right? And here we go. We got our first match. It is going to be on Terenas stand, Human vs. Night Elf, Soulglider vs. Alexchen. And I have no idea how this first map's going to go. I have not seen enough of Alexchen on maps like this, so I do not know if he is going to mix in some Warden play or if he will still go Demon Hunter. And I'm also not positive if Soulglider will go Archmage or if he will vary it up and go MK on this map. This is the type of map that I was kind of alluding to earlier, that has varying strategies and could very well be, like a tone setter really, since it's the first map here. But yeah, we'll see what they do. Standard build so far for Soulglider. Alexchen on the other hand, also standard. He's looking to creep the Merc camp. And I believe Soulglider likes to keep his base open. He doesn't like to completely block it off. And that's probably good against potential Warden, because Warden would be able to get in anyways, so you want to make sure that your own units and heroes can get in. And we do actually see the Warden. So this is what I was wondering, is if Alexchen actually does play Warden on certain maps, such as Terenas stand, and it looks like he does. Could be quite an interesting game here. So yeah, Footman Scout coming. I believe it's going to be a Footman Scout. He could just be setting it up for one of the creeps. Soulglider is actually going the Mountain King as well. So it is going to be one of those different matches where we do not see Archmage against Keeper. It is instead Mountain King against Warden. A second Ancient of War for Alexchen as well. He's looking to creep the shop after the Merc camp and just get quick level 3. We will likely see Fan of Knives to finish off these creeps. How's Soulglider doing here? It looks like the creep's going okay. I'm not actually sure what the priority is for what takes damage here. Just as long as nothing doesn't die is probably fine. I assume peasants are probably ideal to take the damage on, so this was probably good by him. It definitely can get abused by Warden later, but not letting Warden pick off your actual units, like your footmen, can be pretty good too. And you can always just have these peasants slowly regenning in your base over time. Okay, we do see Alexchen looking to get level 3 here. Can't remember if this is all the way to level 3 or if I think it's just slightly short, right? And they have to creep the kobolds as well.
A player's forces are under attack.
Soulglider, on the other hand, going for the expansion. He's picked up Scroll of the Beast earlier, which can have some uses, but is definitely not an ideal item early game unless you're... I guess it can have some value even early game if you use it to kill or cancel an expansion, for instance. And we see a Staff of Telly coming in from the MK. Should get level 3 once that creep finishes, and then he's going to start bolting. Warden also TPing out, or Staff of Tellying out, but Warden has not actually reached 3 yet. So these Fan of Knives that the Warden's throwing out is not going to be too effective here. Nor does Alexchen have a good way to reach level 3, unless he can manage to pick off one of these peasants. But they're getting healed by the Shadow Priest, and honestly, Soulglider's units are positioned well to block off the Warden. We see a bolt coming out on this Berserker. He's extremely weak. He actually goes for the Roar Scroll here just to ensure the kill. Not sure if it was needed, but I mean, I guess probably not bad. And it's even getting some value on the Wisps here. We see he 2 hits of the MK and 2 hits of the Footman took out a Wisp, which I don't believe is normal without the Roar Scroll. We see a reveal out, so Soulglider looking to move the Warden so that he can get his peasants to actually start building. Alexchen losing a bunch of Wisps in the meantime. He finally gets level 3 on his Warden, however now he is completely out of mana and is going to have to rely on his Staff of Telly to get out in like 5 seconds. Soulglider's putting in a lot of damage though. Alexchen's going to be hurting at tier 2 for wood. So it's going to be imperative that Alexchen finds the time to creep the lab. He will need to get a shredder as soon as possible in order to sustain himself. He is, however, getting his own expansion up in the meantime, and I don't believe Soulglider has a good opportunity to cancel it anymore. Our human player looks like he's about to just back off now. Likely will get some mana and health on his Mountain King, and then just continue creeping. This is actually quite good if he can get his Footmen to not get perma-bashed. Okay, that actually ended up horrible. That could have been actually insanely powerful, because getting this Ancient of War picked off or not set up to creep this camp would help Soulglider so much, because Alexchen is suffering for wood. He still has 2 Wisps queued, and I'm sure he probably already produced these 3. So that's like 5 Wisps he's had to make. He would have preferred being able to just creep this, pick up the Shredder, and then maybe make just a couple Wisps to produce production buildings and Ancient Wonders. But instead, he has not managed to get a Shredder and has instead had to produce a lot of extra Wisps. Not ideal. This Mountain King, however, apart from the Crystal Ball, which technically has some value, it is good to reveal the Warden and to reveal expansions. Actually has some other really good items for mana. Robe of Magi and Mantle of Intelligence will allow this Mountain King to get a lot of pickoffs here. Alexchen's Ancient War dropping weak, not too big of a deal, especially because he has 2. The big thing is, what can Soulglider get done here? And he is getting a bash on the Shadow Priest. It's going to die. He does have 1 more bolt even after the detonate, and he actually bolts the Warden. It's close to us around. The Warden does get out, but even this damage is pretty huge because Alexchen's wells are not exactly fully topped off, and his Warden is missing almost all of his mana and a lot of health. That's going to be extremely costly to fill up. He won't even reach full with all of them. Oh, we actually saw a Sapper coming in. This tree is dropping weak. Wisp also weak. Should make sure he doesn't lose his Shredder. Okay, good pick up there. Would be nice to also hit the Wisp, but yeah, still not too bad. Alexchen is definitely still worried. He hasn't even... Okay, now he finally uproots, but he is doing a lot of extra repair as well, and this doesn't come free. This is actually quite costly. Soulglider might not know it, but this is really costly for Alexchen because he does not have a Shredder yet and is still low on Wisps. He is still producing more Wisps even after he's been tier 2 for the last, you know, few minutes. Like literally constant production of Wisps here because he keeps losing more. And that is going to result in Alexchen's tech as well as his production of tier 2 units to be extremely delayed. We see him now at 1150 gold and less than 100 wood. He will likely wait until he reaches 100 wood here and then purchase a Shredder. He did purchase something for wood though. I don't know what. He lost like 30 wood there on something. Oh, he bought the Berserker. Yeah, we do see a Shredder coming out. He'll finish off that creep. Sadly, it got slowed, so even longer to get there. And Soulglider, again, going for a little hit and run on this tree. It is dropping quite quickly. I don't think he'll be able to kill it, but he will get the Warden to possibly expend more of her mana. Maybe. Wait, he just loads up and is going to take off. Saves that last footman. And still, great position for Soulglider here. Alexchen hasn't been able to saturate his mine. He's not able to tech yet, as his Shredder hasn't even started chopping wood. And what's the tech for Soulglider in the meantime? Okay, he has tier 3 almost finished, and the elf player can't even start tier 3 yet. This is huge for our human player. He is going Griffin Aviaries. Yeah, we see a battle in the center. Blood Mage out. Mana drained on the Warden. These footmen kind of just fodder at this point. The big thing here for Soulglider is to continue draining the wells, and that is what he's going to do by getting this Warden weak. He actually does a little pump fake there. Baits out the TP. And keeps his mana. So Soulglider currently a little low in population count, but so is Alexchen, and Alexchen currently can't afford stuff effectively. He only just now started his tier 3, hasn't managed to put up a wind at all. I'm not sure if you would want a wind against aviaries. It's more so against casters like caster knights. So he might not even get a wind. I think he might just go Dryads. I do believe sometimes against this mass error you do want some hippos mixed in, but it really depends though, because sometimes hippos end up just being fodder to this sort of army. It kind of just depends what the mass is looking like on both sides, and I think just sticking with the lore is probably the right choice so far for Alexchen, especially with his wood count being so low. Our Night Elf has a lot of ground to make up. He does actually reach level 5 here though, which is quite huge. However, his Moonwells are very limited. He does not have Wellspring as he has not hit tier 3, and he will have to buy a lot of Clarities to heal up here. We'll likely see him sell the Slippers and the Roar Scroll. He might keep the Slippers for now. Okay, and he retrains. So he should have level 3 Fan and level 2 Blink now, and his goal is likely to be to harass peasants. We do see Soulglider has wisely set up a Zeppelin so that he can load up his peasants. These ones are still a bit exposed though. Might want to split 2 of these off to like somewhere else. Okay, got an engagement here. Dragonhawk's quite good against Dryads at low food counts. Panda getting picked off, way too weak right now, just a level 1 Panda. And that's going to set Alexchen in a very awkward spot. He now knows he has to potentially defend a push here rather than harass, but he just does not have the army to do so. We're sitting at 4 Dryads and a weak Berserker, very limited Moonwells. Tier 3 just finished, he does have Orb now, but these Dragonhawks also have 1 armor upgrade, and he has at least 1 heal scroll. Can't really get the selection on the Paladin, it's hiding. Okay, yeah, 1 heal scroll, level 2 Paladin. Even brings his Shredder in because he feels he likely doesn't need the wood from it anymore. And yeah, these Dryads just get shredded. So as long as Soulglider manages to pull these Dragonhawks back whenever they get too weak so they don't get AoE down, should be in a good spot. We see the Bolt and Siphon coming out. This Warden is basically dry again, and he is going to have a lot of trouble defending this. Panda almost getting picked off. Nice Staff comes out. Warden getting focused again. Picks up a potion, getting drained. And Bolt going for the Panda. He is going to pick off the Panda here now. Warden just hiding, biding her time. And this is going to be really hard to stabilize for Alexchen. He needs his Warden to somehow do something here, but he's essentially just chugging potions. Our Night Elf is in a terrible position. We see a Crystal Ball coming out to reveal hidden units. Warden anti-magic shell, but just can't really defend against this actual damage. And he calls GG Soulglider with the I would say quite convincing victory in game 1. He controlled the game very well. The big thing for our Night Elf player was that he did not reach level 3 with his Warden before Staff of Tallying over, nor did Soulglider give him an opportunity to pick off any units, which was quite huge. Like if there were some weak peasants at the gold mine, for instance, maybe Alexchen goes in, gets 1 fan off, hits level 3, and then he can actually do some good return damage. But because Soulglider kept his units quite healthy while he was creeping, it actually went in his favor by quite a bit there. Okay. Not sure what game 2 is yet. Okay, it's going to be on Last Refuge. And yeah, Soulglider with the 1-0, taking Terenas stand. I shall update my little score thing here. And let's see what they will do this match. Also, I'm not sure what people's preference is. Do they prefer me to comment more on the human player and the Night Elf player, or do you prefer more of my usage of their actual names? Because I can definitely mix it back and forth. At the bottom left, we have our blue human player, Soulglider. He is looking to do standard as far as I can tell so far, so we aren't going to see a Tavern Hero tower push or anything. Alexchen actually mixing it up and going Tavern Hero though. I was expecting a Keeper, maybe even a Demon Hunter, but he does in fact decide to do a Tavern Hero build, and we will likely see a Beastmaster, which I was not expecting, but I guess is not uncommon for this map. The question was, do people prefer me to say more of their names or their races when I refer to them? Yeah, our yellow Night Elf, Alexchen, has a second Moonwell altar coming up. Should probably be sending out some wisps soon to, yeah, here we go, to scout. And first archer started. We do in fact see the Archmage. I thought this would be Archmage versus Keeper, but we do see some difference again with a Tavern Hero. Will be interesting to see how Soulglider decides to fight against this. Because humans have multiple options here. They can largely ignore it if they want and just play it standard. They can creep the small green while pulling this to buy a Shadow Priest. And then harass. Or, you know, or like I said, they can play standard, they can instantly expand. Where did the footman go? Actually, I'm not sure if Soulglider actually really scouted our Night Elf to see what he was doing. He might not know it's a Beastmaster. Did this I don't think this footman really went across, did it? It might have. It actually might have seen the late altar. So he might know it's a Tavern Hero. The question is, how is the reaction? Does he go to harass here? And it looks like he does. So he knows this is quite safe. Okay, he's actually going to creep level 2 first and then possibly harass. Okay, we see the bear coming out for our Night Elf player. Gets the priest, and now going for the golem. Shadow Priest picked up. What sort of item do we have? A Lion Horn of Stormwind. Definitely very powerful. Will be more powerful later once we get larger armies. And we may see Alexchen go for the gold mine now and look to counter expand once he also scouts that Soulglider is expanding. Or he might just set up the expansion without scouting it. We'll see if he moves this wisp at all. Soulglider on the other hand, our human player just deciding to creep. He decides he'll just play the game out as, you know, fairly standard. Just get your level 3, get your expansion up. And this expansion has gone up without any trouble at all because Alexchen is just busy concentrating on his own levels right now. The big thing is, how well will Soulglider perform after this? Because his footmen are quite weak. He has not yet picked up the Berserker or Shadow Priest. He had to actually wait until the Town Hall finished for his food because he was supply capped at 30 out of 30. Soapy Mass is actually really good in this situation, I believe, because now he gets a lot of water elementals to use. And Alexchen, looking to harass, has his counter expo up. And Soulglider here is quite weak with his footmen. And this is worrying for our human player because not having footmen to put in all this extra normal damage will hurt a lot because you want to be able to fight off both the archers and the hero with a bunch of normal damage. He does get rid of the bear though, which is pretty big. Not only that, but Alexchen decided to summon a Quill Beast, which will actually limit his mana pool a lot here. And as we can see, he might even be going back to his own, but no, he's going to go in again. He knows that the Arcane Tower's up, but he wants to get some sort of damage in. Will he summon another level 1 Quill though? Or will he try to stay out of range of the tower so that he can eventually reach a bear? And we do see the Naga picked up. This could be... Okay, he actually goes for the level 1 Quill. So it may have actually been better for him to go for level 2 Quill than level 1 Bear instead. He looks to be able to get this tower down though, which is actually quite huge. And Soulglider's units are quite weak. He's left himself very vulnerable. This push will be pretty hard to defend. It's going to be up to good micro as well as militia usage. He does have 4 militia coming in, but he might actually need some sort of like surround here to really fight this off. In the meantime, Alexchen's expansion should be just about finished as well. And our human player is in a very awkward spot. Losing the arcane is pretty rough. I actually think the play was probably to not creep this for Soulglider. Instead, he should have just continued to defend. because creeping that actually put a lot of damage on his units. We see some focus here, but the Beastmaster is dropping low, so he will have to TP out. Barely gets it off with 20 health left. And not too many losses. If Soulglider can power build this and get a regen scroll, he should actually be in a decent spot. Yeah, he does power build. 4 peasants working on this. And with this tower almost finished, he should be able to stop this counter push. Does need to make sure he gets some of the regen scroll to work before the push. So make sure to have the weak units either here or here. Potentially buy mercenaries, because the Ogre Mauler, I believe, is up now. And yeah, we see this blacksmith just trying to distract and block a bit. Very nice. Does get the regen scroll to get quite some use, and defend also is out now, which will slow down the elf a lot. This arcane tower putting in work, he's getting the Beastmaster focused a lot, and that will drain his mana down to nothing. He has no more summons for quite a while, and Alexchen's push is effectively over. Very nice hold from Soulglider there, because this was looking extremely scary for him after he opted to creep this and weaken his footmen against the poison creep. And now for our Night Elf, we are in a somewhat awkward spot because his Moonwells are quite dry. And his Beastmaster is half health, no mana. So he's going to have to be starting to chug Clarities. The good thing, however, for our Night Elf player is he does actually have a counter expansion up and running. It's just about fully saturated. He's not terribly behind in gold. But yeah, now we see Soulglider even being able to be a little aggressive here. Might be able to steal. Okay, no steal there. He would really like to get 1 steal because it could get him to level 4. Okay. Have little mana here, but MK is out. Looks like there's a bit too many ranged units here with the double dryads on top of the mercenaries and archers. Our human wisely backs off and will look to creep up. He may very well be getting creep jacked here though, but he did pick up a heal scroll and an invuln. And he's 2 XP off from level 4, which will be quite huge. We see 1 abolish coming out on this elemental. Would be nice to see some more. Very nice dodge with the invuln there against the bolt. And our Mountain King is dropping weak. He never got the invuln passed yet. Does now. Might have to use it, and he does. But this fight is not exactly going to go in favor for our human. He might be able to snipe this ogre real quick though. Maybe a good item. Well, mana potion definitely good, but maybe not ideal for the situation. And we see him just back off, feeds the water elemental. Alexchen has actually expended all of his mana though, again, on summoning these bears. So his Beastmaster a bit low again, missing 300 health and has no mana. He summoned a level 2 Quillbeast, and he's looking to be aggressive here. He has actually pushed up in food count. He's at 61 already. So even though Soulglider had quite a good hold, Alexchen is finding some creep steals here, taking the shop and trying to take the lab now. But this human army will start to get quite scary quite quickly. It is, however, just a tier 2 human army, so at some point its effectiveness will drop. It does have long rifles, just getting close to finished, and that will help a lot so that he can shoot down some of these dryads from range. This Beastmaster does need to be a bit careful. He is going to pull back, looking to purchase a heal scroll maybe? Oh, invis potion and heal scroll. Bit expensive. We do see a bolt coming out, and we might see an invuln or a TP. Very nice force by Soulglider there to get the TP out, because that can be quite costly for our Night Elf player. And now, what is he going to do next? Is he going to hit and pressure, or is he going to steal camps? It looks like we're going to see some aggressive play. So maybe Maybe Soulglider is feeling that our Night Elf has expended his Moonwells and that he has a decent enough army to fight, and that actually is the case. There is no healing anymore for the Night Elf beyond this, except for what little is left in the wells and what he can purchase. So anything that gets staffed out will not be able to easily come back. We do see some wisps expended, but this might actually be Soulglider's goal here. Beastmaster dropping weak gets staffed out, but as I said earlier, it's going to be tough for him to really come back effectively. And we see some focus on this level 1 DH. He never got to level yet and drops quickly. MK does need to be careful here though. But yeah, this force is looking quite scary. Beastmaster is coming back. As I said though, he is only at 400 health. We'll have one summon available. Berserker going down. MG quite annoying up front, but these ranged units getting a little bit mismicroed. He really wants that MK, but losing a lot in the process with the Dryads getting focused quickly by these rifles. Do see a mana potion coming out and a bolt. It would be nice to get one of these priests to target heal the Mountain King to save it, but he does save it in the end. Little small mistake not getting that peasant to TP with him because it was building. Needs to move those at some point as well. But very good damage by Soulglider, I believe. It is nighttime though, however, and if Alexchen can find the time to start leveling up his DH or getting level 5 Beastmaster, he could still be in a good spot. He did expend a lot of wisps, did use a lot of moonwells. As we can see, even though it's nighttime, he has drained his wells once again. A couple of them with 100, but the mountain giant could end up sipping those down maybe. Yeah, this is the key thing for our Night Elf player here, is just to continue creeping as fast as possible. He wants to either hit level 3 demon or level 5 Beastmaster. Looks like he's scared of a push. I didn't see, but there might have been a wisp here somewhere that saw this. But Soulglider opts to actually just creep instead. And yeah, it looks like Alexchen just kind of waiting in position. And the MK has reached level 3. He has good items, but he does not actually have a TP. So our human needs to be quite careful here. There is a fairy dragon out now as well, which can be very damaging against spells. A couple peasants coming, mortar starting to be produced. Tier 3 is on the way. I do kind of like this push by Soulglider, but I feel like he meant to have a TP and he actually does not, so this is quite scary. This fairy dragon has put in a lot of work. These heroes dropped primarily from the fairy dragon when they summoned water elemental and these spells. We see a lot of elf units dying quite quickly. The fairy dragon finally focused, but I think Alexchen still has some opportunity to potentially focus down these heroes and just get them out. He has, however, lost most of his army. Only MG is really remaining, and not much mana on the Beastmaster. DH and Naga coming back in. Beastmaster does reach 5, but MG picked off by a Stormbolt. MK needs to be a little careful here. He has an invuln, but there is no TP and no invis from Sorceress to save him. Bolt coming out on the Beastmaster, he does fall, and that will be a huge XP gain and a huge fight advantage for our human player. Another mana potion used here, getting the Demon Hunter weak. It gets staffed out, however now it is just a Naga and 3 giants against the human army, which has not actually lost much. Bolt coming out again. Mana shield picked up to protect. Does actually work, but ooh, he actually manages to get away. That mana shield actually saved the Naga, and he opted for it because he is going Orb of Venom anyways. These MGs are a bit of a problem for the human player, but without heroes here to support, they won't be able to accomplish too much other than denying these towers. And we see the DH getting quickly focused, should be staffed out. Very nice staff, but now the Naga is left dry here. Still 30 mana away on the MK, but he does have Sobi Mask and level 2 Aura. He decided to go for level 3 Water Elementals. And we should see a... Oh, very nice burn. MK literally just reached 75 mana. This Mortar, on the other hand, still going to town in the Tree of Life. It's dropping quite weak, but Repair does come out. However, that is also more time where our Elf player is not mining. Mountain Giants also dropping weak. Getting focused down here, and we're starting to see them finally fall. The Titans are no match for this human army. 2 more coming in, but just not a lot of hero support in the background. Just 1 Orb of Venom, Naga trying to do what she can, and a DH that continues to just be staffed out. This time, staff not off cooldown yet, still had 3 seconds to go. And the DH falls. Beastmaster finally back, but with only 1 summon, he will not be able to do much either. Naga falls as well, and Alexchen calls it. Soulglider takes the 2-0 victory against Alexchen. And it was a little different than I was expecting. I was thinking Alexchen would play more Keeper and Demon Hunter, but it might have actually just been the maps that dictated that. Since we saw Terenas stand and we saw Last Refuge being a tavern map, we did see something different with Beastmaster play on Last Refuge and Warden versus MK on Terenas. But even with those differences rather than more of standard, we do see Soulglider coming out on top. Alexchen definitely put Soulglider in a scary position at the start of this game. The footmen were quite weak across the board. The tower got picked off at the expo, but some nice militia usage as well as focus fire on the Beastmaster to get him to have to back off ended up working in our human player's favor, and after stabilizing from that, he was able to pull out the victory and take the 2-0. Now, let's see. We can see if Soulglider wants a winner interview or not. I think he probably will, unless he's busy at the moment. But we'll see what he says. I shall go to the Washed Up League channel. And he will probably notice I'm here.
Oh, yo, can you hear me?
Yo, yes. Let me speak again so I can see the audio level.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'll probably have to lower you a bit, and then it should probably be fine.
I'm always super loud, so I'm always lowered.
Okay. How's the audio sound now?
It's pretty good for me.
Okay.
How's it for you?
I think it's good. Maybe I still could raise it up slightly now. I'm not sure. Let's see if the chat says anything. Or if chat's dead. Feels bad, man.
Chat. I mean, you have a lot of people watching you right now, I think, so.
Yeah, I got raided by Baron. I think he was casting a GNL match prior to this.
Okay.
And yeah, got quite a few viewers for your match. That's cool.
There's a lot of people in like a Chinese Discord right now also watching it, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, we have a little bit of banter in Chinese, but it's all playful, so. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to pull out this win because Alex is really good. And typically when I'm not playing a lot, Night Elf is really hard for me.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think it might be a little unfair. I got a little bit of coaching just before the match, and I didn't get any practice in, but I had like a really solid game plan. And it worked out exactly as I set out ahead of the game, so.
Yeah, I do think the second match looked a little sketchy there for a while. Your footman got quite weak and he was pushing with like level 3 Beastmaster and a Naga. He picked off your Arcane. But you managed to focus down the Beastmaster and get him to leave.
It's a little bit of micro mistake from him, but so like I'm not used to creeping that. I need to go back and watch Infi's replay. I think it was against Moon not too long ago, which he did this creep route because Beastmaster is pretty strong on LR if you start with the the
Merc camp.
mercs.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you start with the mercs, like your tower's not going to get quite up in time, but my tower still didn't get up in time, so I don't know what the hell I was doing. Like, should I build the expo first? Should I upgrade the tower first? It's probably more like Crypt Lord. Like you upgrade the tower first, then once you have enough wood, then you build the expansion. And I didn't pull. I'm supposed to finish creeping before night and then pull. I don't know if you noticed my footman went over to pull, but they were already asleep, so I couldn't pull.
Yeah.
And so it was much harder to creep the merc camp. But luckily, like I don't think it's very strong to. I don't know. That push doesn't feel very strong to me. Like that. Like I feel like tier 1 expo into tech is a little bit better with Beastmaster in my opinion. But I don't know. I have to watch the Moon games again. But I didn't pull it off really well. But yeah, like you said, like he kind of dove in a little bit too hard with his Beastmaster. Having to get out like that gives the human so much time.
Yeah. That was honestly key. I think if he didn't have to leave there, it would have been very hard to hold because you had already brought 4 militia over, and after that it would be quite hard to get another set of militia over. Your footmen were all like half health or less. I think you had like 1 merc maybe at low mana after abolishing the first thing. But because you got the Beastmaster to leave and then kind of just drained his wells, you managed to get another tower up in time. Got the Arcane Vault power built, which I think was really good to power build it. And
well, he also gave me time for defend because I didn't have defend for push. And once I got defend when he re-pushed, like honestly, I felt like okay, I pretty much win this game. Like I feel like he has to be a level above me in order for him to win. I know it's kind of a weird discussion, but typically your opponent when they're expanding a little bit later than you and they're teching a little bit faster than you, they need to get a level advantage.
Yeah.
So when you push and you don't get a lot done, what happens is my econ advantage ends up overrunning you, and that's what happened. Is I built a lot of production buildings, although I overbuilt peasants like way too much. I had like so many peasants, it was ridiculous. I didn't even realize. I think I had like 20 peasants on wood, which was a big mistake. But like I don't know, maybe it wasn't because it turned out kind of okay. But I think it would have been smarter for me once he TP'd to just try to power creep and try to stabilize. And try to scout what I'm doing. Am I going for a rifle push? If so, like try to be prepared for it. But by pushing there, and he gave me so much time, he didn't do anything with the second push. And then I'm like, okay, well now I've already hit tier 2. MK's coming out. Your Naga's level 1, and Naga is already instead of Panda, right? Naga's already like I want to fast push you. Now if he went Panda, went and crept, and then like tried to get into late game army, try to get into higher level heroes, it might have been a more interesting game. But his push strategy, I think, didn't work out.
Yeah, I think he definitely needed a little more economic damage. I believe one of the problems he ended up having was because he summoned 2 level 1 Quill Beasts during his push when he was level 3. He actually drained his mana quite a lot, and then after having to use Moonwells for that as well, that his Moonwells were quite dry, and he just didn't have much to continue harassing or continue pushing. I do think he maybe should have got some sort of like bear run bys while creeping in the meantime. Things like that as well could be good. I've definitely seen that.
This map in general, bear run bys are hard. Like there's not a lot of paths. It's easy for me to defend both bases, and my creep routes are typically going to be very close to my base until I'm ready to push his base. And then if his bears are across the map, he's going to lose his expo. So I think on this map, I'm not sure if bear run bys are very good, but in general, I just think the first micro mistake kind of cost him, and then the game plan of pushing again was a little weak. But I think the TS game also is an interesting one to talk about, though.
Yeah. So TS, I think the problem Alexchen ran into, and something that you did well, was you didn't take like any damage on your footmen or the peasants that crept the gold mine. So when Alexchen opted to staff in, he was like level 2.9 something, but there was nothing there for him to pick off right away and get that level 3. And then he just never ended up being able to do much counter damage. And that really hurt him.
There's also, so typically when you do this, and if you watch Colorful versus Fortitude recently, like Colorful does staff over at level 2 after the MK staffs, and I think it is interesting to do that.
Yeah.
But you have to guarantee that you hit the level 3 hide and then are able to pick off all the peasants before it's worth it. The other thing that is you have to have the ability to multitask your main base, and he let me pick off all of his mercs. So I was actually ahead of him in level on my MK for quite a while, and then he wasn't able to creep as much after that. And if you saw his panda, like he's creeping with some archers and a couple dryads, but he's creeping really slow because he lost all his mercs. He lost like an archer, got a couple wisps in his base. So my MK ended up doing more damage than his warden did. And then I think his creep route is about right in doing dryads in the mid game. He even scanned my main base to know the army that I was going, but there just wasn't enough time because I killed his expo. You know, well, not killed, but I kind of delayed it, killed a bunch of wisps. He like move it, repair it, build more wisps, and then I dropped it again. I killed more wisps. Like the harass kind of went really well for me, and it all started in the early game, not getting level 3 on the kill. I think you're right with that. Like, he had to like maybe take a few hits from the arcane tower, kill a peasant, get level 3, hide, and then try it again.
Yeah, it definitely hurt him not being able to get level 3 off there. He did eventually get it, but at that point, he didn't really have anything more he could do there, and I think he just had to, he like staffed out after. But yeah, that hurt him a lot. And also, I'm not sure how much you realized from your point of view, but he was actually quite low on wood because I believe you killed quite a few wisps and had him also requiring to repair a lot and so on when you were focusing the tree.
Okay, so there was the tree, and also before the tree when he was harassing me, I think I killed 3 wisps with my Mountain King and Footman. I trapped one wisp in the wood line. I killed a couple wisps with bolt. So that probably did it right there.
That actually played a pretty huge factor. He was sitting at like 1,200 gold and like 80 wood, and it took him quite a while to find the time to creep the lab as well. Sadly, that Footman pull didn't work for you. I think that would have actually been a huge dagger for him if he couldn't creep it safely, and he would have had to like archer pull, purchase the shredder.
He was actually really smart with putting his Ancient War like pretty far away. It's really hard to pull and stop that from happening. So I kind of just decided not to do it. Like, a lot of night elves get lazy and they kind of place the Ancient War too close. And then I ended up. Oh, you're talking about the one at the lab. I thought you were talking about the one at the shop.
The lab.
The one at the lab. Oh my god!
You got bashed
like, over and over again. If I didn't have that, I think I'm way far ahead.
Yeah, I think if that pole starts damaging the Ancient War and hinders his creeping and of the lab as well as purchasing the shredder, you would have been even farther ahead. But the bash. Dude, I just bash that hurt him.
I mean, I was considering just focusing it down with all my footmen, but I just wasn't sure if he'd get there and kill too many footmen, so I just ended up backing off. So I don't know.
I think it's fine. You definitely had already dealt a lot of the damage you needed. A lot of possibly unseen damage, which was him having his Moonwells drained in both games, as well as the first game, like I said, having low wood count, which hurt him a lot. But yeah, what other thoughts do you have on the game? Comments, or what do you think you would have liked to have done better?
He's a really good player. I'm actually kind of surprised with his veto choices, and I think things kind of started there. It kind of played in my hands a lot. I like TS. Actually, if you look at my history of games, typically it depends. So when I'm really well practiced, TS is really deadly, and you probably shouldn't play me on TS. Like, I beat I'll beat like Mikro consistently on TS, right? Mikro's a very good Night Elf player. But like, if I'm not practiced, TS can be a really hard map. It just depends on how I'm feeling. But I still think like Night Elf's leaving TS in the matchup, unless you're like super good at it. Like, it's too hard. There's too many little things. I think not leaving CH in the pool is kind of weird. He vetoed CH, right? And he vetoed Tidehunters. I think Tidehunter is actually a pretty decent map for Elf because the two bases are really close. And if you go Keeper, there's a lot of like double base harassing you can do. You can harass the main and then like harass the Expo with archers and then like staff back over to the Expo. It's really hard to defend both of those, I think. So I'm not really sure about, and it's really hard for AM to get level 3. And you can also creep like an Expo behind it, like super easy. I'm not sure about the vetoes, to be honest. I think actually everything started from the vetoes.
Yeah, I was mentioning the map pool, like what gets left over could play a big factor here, as well as could change up what the hero choices were. I did see Terenas when it got through, I was like, okay, we might actually see a Warden here, even though I don't think Alexchen plays Warden much on other maps. But yeah, the Tidehunters thing, I haven't played too much on it myself, but when I saw either Moon or Lala playing against someone, it actually looked quite strong with what Elf can do. That was one of the games I saw a bunch of split harass with Beastmaster, I believe.
Oh, that's an interesting idea too. Because the two bases are so close, but like in the path is like weird.
Yeah.
The pathing's weird for the human to like defend both bases.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying is like Tidehunter's like, but maybe he's not practice on it, and so like I can understand that. But I think banning CH is a very strange.
Yeah, the CH ban is
choice.
definitely weird. I like CH personally, but
I think it's a very good keeper map. If you get into the late game and you get an expo up, like the mid game creeping is better for Elf, and then the late game with Mountain Giants, and it can be so hard for human. So like, but maybe he's just not confident. So like a lot of it comes into personal preference. You know, maybe he really likes playing on TS and LR. Obviously, he had the BM strategy on LR, but I was prepared for it. So I mean, a little bit of a shout out here to Someone Real for helping me a little bit. You know, like he knows Alex a lot. He gave me a couple pointers before the games because I didn't have time to practice. But I'm sure he also gave Alex some pointers in practice with him a lot. So it's kind of like equal there. But he told me he likes BM. I know I've seen a lot of Night Elves go BM on the map. So I thought, okay, I'll just insta expo. It didn't actually work out for me like that well, but I still have to say like I kind of knew it was coming. So.
And so where do you see yourself within your group, and what other players in future matches are you worried about as well?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I'm in the same group as you. So it's
that's an easy win for you.
No,
next person.
I don't know about that. Honestly, Kuberte is probably my biggest worry. If Mikro's practicing, he's really, really strong. Yeah. I think I'm pretty good against Orc, and I play Heartcrane this week as well. But Heartcrane can be really strong. Like, I don't really know, and the Orc matchup can be really weird, and sometimes I have to like really slip, like a lot of slips in my micro. But I think the number one worry for me is probably Kuberte, and then after that, it's Mikro, and depends on his shape. Because honestly, Mikro's won this group before while I was in it. Like he just stomped the group before and went into Group A. So like he's a really strong player when he's practiced. So that guy, I think everybody should probably be afraid of Mikro.
And then you yourself won the group like 2 seasons ago too, I believe, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, I think I got second. I lost to Pride in the finals.
Oh.
But I beat him in the regular season. So it was like it was just tough finals.
Yeah. Still top 2 though. And then you had to mess with Group A in the last season.
Group A that season was really crazy. It was like the best. It was the strongest like NA scene we'd ever seen. So I think this season actually Group A is pretty interesting. I think top 3 is pretty solid, maybe top 4. But after that, like actually I think top 3, but the 4 slot is really hard to say. So for this group, in my opinion, I think the group is gonna go Mikro first, Kuberte second, and then I think 3rd and 4th are a toss-up. Honestly, like for who do you think? Like how's your Night Elf and how's your Orc matchups? Because I think that's kind of going to decide it, right? Because there's 2 really strong Night Elves and 2 really strong Orcs in the group.
I think I usually have the advantage in my Night Elf matchups, and then I throw them away.
Well, that's mirror, I guess. So.
But Orc, I don't particularly like my Orc matchup, but I've typically done really well against Heartcrane. Was there another, like, which race does Fred play? Okay.
Fred plays Orc as well.
Then that could be troublesome. I'm not sure.
He's like 1850-ish right now, I think.
I think I might have played him once before, but I can't really remember. My picks for the group was actually going to be you at the top, and then Kuberte and Mikro 2nd and 3rd, and then 4th up for grabs. But we shall see what happens.
We shall see. But hey, thanks for the vote of confidence, man. I know actually today a lot of people voted against me for beating Alex, and I even voted against myself. I wasn't very confident.
I
really wasn't
gave you
confident.
the star on my player card.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
I could flash that up on the screen.
Oh,
But
sick.
yeah,
Okay, so somebody voted for me.
I know even though you haven't played as much lately, and I know Alex Chen's of course a big grinder, I felt that you, well, for one, even if you've taken a break, I feel like anyone who's played human quite a bit in the past has some sort of consistency, because that race feels like you just in general need to be pretty consistent in order to do things like expanding and holding those. So the worry typically for players that haven't played as much is how consistent will they be coming back. But I felt even though that was possibly in question, that you would still be consistent enough to take the victory here. You did end up getting the 2-0 in the end. Definitely a bit close on the second game in particular,
Right.
with potentially your expansion being broken, but you did some good moves to pressure his Beastmaster away.
Yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
consistency thing. The thing is like like even though I don't play a lot, I watch enough.
Yeah.
So it's just a question of control, and like in my opinion, my control is typically my best asset when
Yeah.
I play. Like if you my human mirror tends to be pretty good, because I have really good micro, and so as long as I watch enough and I understand the game plan, like then I think I'm consistent simply because I'm typically very strong in the micro area and like in the control area. So it's just like, do I know what I'm supposed to do? And I really fall off the rails if I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I just need somebody to talk me through the plan. And if the plan goes correct, then I play very solid. And I feel like I can beat almost anybody. But if things start to go off, then I don't know what to do. Then everything kind of slips and I just fall apart. So I think that's just the thing with me. It's just as long as I have a solid game plan, my control is always really good. So this time it was mostly about, I watched like Colorful versus Fortitude, and then I talked with someone a little bit about the game plan, and then it went exactly as expected.
Yeah, and I would say you performed quite well here. You got done when you needed to get done. You executed your game plan well, and it showed. You got the 2-0.
All right, thanks, man, and good luck in your group. Who are you playing this week? Did you already play?
I play Heart Crane and Aware.
Oh wow, when are those?
I'm not totally sure when. That I messaged both, but didn't really get definitive times.
I'd love if you could play on Saturday on stream. That would be super sick, because I'd love to see you versus Aware or Heart Crane on stream on Saturday. So we're starting at 5. I think we already have 1 match set up, maybe 2. I have to check again, but it'd be cool if you could play.
I definitely know I'm available, and it sounded like, I think Aware said he's pretty much free all weekend, so that match could probably take place there for sure. I'm not positive on Heart Crane's schedule though.
Okay.
Last I remember, Heart Crane. Last I remember, Heart Crane said he had a lot of time available later at nighttime, but I'm not sure if that still stands or what. But as for myself, I'm pretty open with my times, so whenever they're free, and yeah, we could probably figure out sometime for Saturday. That's when you cast matches.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get 4 matches on Saturday between 5 and 9 p.m. EST. So,
okay.
All right, man. Thanks for the interview. Thanks for casting. It was pretty awesome. We got a lot of viewers, so that's really fun. Watch the league, guys. Check it out next season as well if you're not playing. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks for the matches. I gotta run, but have a good night, man.
Any plugs?
Social. Follow me, Soulglider42 on Twitter, I guess. So, and I'll be streaming, and I'll be posting it on Twitter, and I'll be posting it in the Watch the League on Saturday, so you guys can see me there.
Right. Thanks for
all right, talk to you later, man.
See you.
Peace.